planning 2 casino visits the same day, and usually that happens because we don't want to play. We don't want to lose a casino that has slot machines and a craps table and video poker and all that. So we have to play our blackjack or Spanish 21 in the card room, right? So we have to line these up so that we get there, at the right time. And the card rooms are usually, it depends on the region, but in my region, card rooms are not that busy usually. Sometimes, once in a while, you get them busy on a Friday night or Saturday night. Around 7 o'clock, I think it's busy. So that's a good time to go there. But then, again, in my region, as a general rule, Fridays, Saturdays are not good nights at all. So the only thing I do if I ever play anything, it's going to be a small card rooms because at least I can get a seat, and play there. But the craps tables are all rigged on Fridays, Saturdays. Even the players that I see during the week, once in a while they show up and they lose everything they got. Last night, which was a Saturday, I saw a guy dish out 2 of them. They usually friends. They come in. Well, dished out 2,000 to start with. Lost that 2,000 really quickly because everybody was just throwing sevens, and then dished out another 2,000. And last time I looked, he was down almost half of it. So that's the kind of money they lose, but it's a Friday night, and then you can't really play. The machines they never play on Friday Saturday. I've never had a decent Friday Saturday on machines, and of course you want to keep track of all this by date and by hour, you know. So the only thing left, really, there's really nothing left in the casino. Uh, if, and if the machines don't pay, that means the video poker won't pay either. Because, you know, just to explain the video poker situation, unfortunately, casino has control over video poker now. They didn't a long time ago. But the way they're set up nowadays, that's why a lot of people they say that video poker as a whole is dead. There's just nothing there, and most people have already quit playing. All the professionals that used to make, over 6 figures on it. Now it's just a minor entertainment. Like I said, I used to hit it for $1,000 here and there. Now, I hit it for maybe $100. That's it, So it's just, it adds up to the income, and it's a little more reliable but it does operate, without going into details, which is not going to make any difference. It does operate like a slot machine nowadays. So bad, that's pretty bad on that. So we don't want to go to card rooms that are already empty, and we don't want to go there when they're super empty, because we stand out, right? We want to kind of mix in with the crowd, and hopefully nobody pays attention to us. And some of them around the country, they're getting bought up by chains out of Vegas. So if you get kicked out of one, you might get kicked out of all of them, or some of them anyway, So what you want to do is just show up when it's really busy. If it's not busy, don't play. Because there's no sense. What are you going to do in there if you don't count? you're just gonna lose everything you got. So, just best thing to do is just get out of there and go to another one nearby. Maybe that one's busy. But remember this: you can't play there when it's super empty. You know. And hopefully you line up your card room to be near a slot machine casino. That way, if you lose or you win, it doesn't matter. You're only going to win so much, right? Especially in the card room. If I can win 200, I'm out of there, man. I don't want to make any noise. I don't want to, be on the spotlight or anything. I think I already mentioned this, but last time I played a Spanish 21 at this one card room, the dealer was real nice, polite. And then when the count came up, I I placed a bet on the Spanish Day bonus, and the dealer says, "Wow, you win the hand and the bonus. How did you do that?" And then another player asked me, says, "How did you know that bonus was in?" I said, "Oh God, I gotta get out of here." I mean, it was just a matter of time before something real, they'll back me off. So I only made, I think, if I remember correctly, I think I made $180 or something. But that was enough for that casino. I got out of there. So, hopefully you line up geographically so they're close to another major casino, because after you're playing cards over there, you can go and maybe play craps or maybe a slot machine if it's the right time. But all of these are night times, right? So there's really no casino visit during the day, you know. So unfortunately, these card rooms in my region anyway, they start to get empty again because people have to work the next day, right? So they kind of get busy around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and they start to empty out around 10:30, 11. So that's the time frame that I can get in there, do something in there. And so, if you get there at 7, you don't really know how long you're going to be in there, right? Somehow you may have to take a break between the two casinos, is what I'm trying to say. Ideal would be if you go there around 7 or 8 o'clock, it's going to be a long night, Well, maybe not that long. If you get there at 7 and you're playing until 9 or maybe even 10, then at 10 o'clock you have to drive to the second casino, right? And at 10, the machines may be hidden, may not be. But you could play craps, for an hour or two. And by midnight, that's when people start to leave, even slot machine. So the casino does not want them to leave. So they start loosening the machines, and you'll hear bang, bang. You'll hear some major bonus rounds, and you hear people winning. But that usually happens between 10:30 and 12:30, right? So you have to be on your toes, ready to, because it's not going to happen for hours. They probably loosen up for maybe an hour, maybe if you're lucky. So you have to be listening. You have to be looking for techs, machine technicians with tax forms, especially when they're two at a time. You see two of them with tax forms. That means the slot manager is loosening the machines, and they're gonna start paying people. In the high limit room, you can't depend too much on a lot of things. In other words, people are paying high denominations, right? So if a person is paying $25 denominations on a penny machine, which a lot of people do, then if they hit 100 credits, a bonus round to get 100 credits times 25, that's $2,500. you know. So that's not really a jackpot, really. You know, I mean, it is, of course. It's a taxable jackpot, but the person, that doesn't mean the machines are loose at all. Just being one person. So if you see one person, it kind of in a high limit room, that doesn't mean much. There has to be a few people just hidden left. You hear the machines go crazy. Now that's something to pay attention, you know. But if just one person, that means nothing. And even on the floor, if one person it's jackpot, it really means nothing. And it's usually just outside of high limit room. And but if you see a whole bunch of technicians with tax phones walking around and watching outside of a high limit room, then you know something's gonna come up. I mean, you don't see them any other time, right? you never see them during the day. You hardly ever see them even Friday night. I've checked, Friday night, Saturday night, never see them because they're not going to be hitting. Machines are not going to be hitting. Well, I mean, one might hit in a high limit room here and there, but it's not going to be. The casino's not going to be hitting major at all. So, besides looking for these signs, you also want to pay attention to other players. You know, I wouldn't go in there and play anything major until I'm 100% sure that the machines are loose. And, you know, that's one time you might get friendly with people. You know, it's, when you sit down next to somebody, say something like, how's it going? Making a lot of money? This is things like that. If they say, no, it's been terrible. And, you know, if it's terrible for them, why would it be good for you? You know, do you have some kind of a special skill on the slot machines that they don't have? It doesn't work that way. On the other hand, say, oh, it was great about an hour ago. Man, I made a bunch of money. But it looks like something happened. Well, that also tells you something. You missed it, maybe, you know. And I'm not saying that they might not turn it back on, but that's not a good night, you know. Or if you got there around 10:30, 11, you know, they might have had an early hit, you know. So I'd be careful. And the other thing is, a lot of these people that play these machines, they've been playing them for years. You know, I mean, years and years. If the person's in their 60s, they've probably been playing for 40 years. They're not stupid. Okay? After 40 years, they know better than just to sit at a machine and just sit there and lose money. They don't. If you see people, you know, next to you, and then they just play for a little bit, get up and leave, you know, because people don't get up. You know, in the old days, they didn't get up and leave. Now, people are reading a lot about slot machines. They're learning that they operate differently nowadays, and they're becoming smarter. So they sit there and they try a machine. If it's not paying, or if it's playing games with them, it goes up and down and up and down. Then they cash out. Okay, which is something we never saw years ago. You know, and when they cash out, that's an indication to you that it may not be a good time to play. And you gotta just listen to machines doing bonus rounds, listen to people screaming and yelling. And if none of this happens, then it's not the right time, you know. And so, between 10 and 11, usually they hit on certain nights and promotional hours. If not, they're going to hit again right before people start to leave, which is around midnight. And of course, they hit a lot of times after the last call, which is after 2 a.m. Then that makes it a really long casino night. So you got to think about that one. You know, if you started at 7, 8 o'clock, You're looking at you look at 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, and to some people that's not a lot of hours, but it just depends on your age, your energy level, and if you have other jobs, part-time things, gigs that you're doing. But it should work out. It's just that you have to line up so your card room is on the way to the major casino. So and then hopefully, and you might, on your Excel sheet, you have to write down the names because you're not gonna remember all this. And make sure you don't go back to that circuit. So that was, let's say, card room number one, which is on the way to casino number one on a Monday, right? And you have a date. Then hopefully you won't go back there for a week or so. Hopefully you have enough around you that you can go to a different casino at least every night, you know. But you definitely won't want to do that, repeat that scenario next day or a couple of days after. But if you have to, then you have to. There's nothing you can do about it. Some regions don't have enough casinos, so and that's all we have to say. We'll continue on this later. Thank you.